Thank you. Good morning, Rowan County Democrats. And I want to thank Nancy for making her testimony. This is why we're here today. This is why we're Democrats, because we care about people. And so I'm very grateful for the work you do, and I'm very grateful for all of you for being here. I work in the General Assembly, and that's kind of like the opposite of this. So thank you for, I'm going to gather as much energy as I can, and that'll make it easier for me to go back on Monday. So thank you so much for the invitation. But like you all, I woke up after the 2016 election kind of depressed and actually shocked. But thank goodness there were some bright spots. We elected Roy Cooper, we elected Josh Stein, and we elected Justice Morgan. So we didn't give up. We persisted, knowing that we had an awful lot of work to do. And so you and county leaders across the state rolled up your sleeves and got to work. You pulled out the vote builder list, and you hung up the sign-up sheets, and you told everyone there was a blue wave coming. You helped us recruit candidates. That was huge. We had a candidate in every single legislative district for the first time in history. Yes, that was an enormous job, so thank you. Together, we recruited over 10,000 volunteers. We knocked on 500,000 doors. We made well over 1 million phone calls. And gratefully, when I bombarded you with emails asking you to support my candidates, you faithfully pushed and clicked on that donate button. And of course, we also ate tons of barbecue. And we'll be doing that again. But I want you to know all of that together accomplished a great deal. First of all, we resoundingly defeated those two horrible constitutional amendments that were just meant to take power away from the governor and pack our courts with Republican judges. We swept the statewide Court of Appeals races. We elected our state's first ever African-American woman sheriff, and she was one of 20 African-American sheriffs elected statewide. And I want to tell you why that's important. It's important because it creates an environment where we can actually do criminal justice reform. So that was huge. And we set Anita Earls to the state Supreme Court. And this is a woman who has devoted her life to civil rights, voting rights, and fair elections. So I am really proud of the work we've done. And most important for me, in spite of the fact that we have the most gerrymandered districts in the country, we broke the Republican supermajority. Election, the number of Democrats in the Senate increased by 40%. But I'm here to tell you that the enthusiasm level has increased an order of magnitude. So you all made a huge difference. Occasionally, Republicans even smile at us. I was in a meeting recently with the current Republican lieutenant governor, and you won't believe this. He looked across the table at me and he said, "Terry, I love you." Now, don't get excited. That does not mean he is going to be reasonable all of a sudden. But it does mean something that we've broken the supermajority. It means that your hard work gave Governor Cooper the power of his veto. So that, should a bill seek to nullify the right of same-sex couples to marry, or should a bill seek to arm our teachers with weapons instead of textbooks, or should a bill seek to further restrict women's rights to make their own decisions for their health care. Should any of these bills come forward, and all of them have been filed, should any of these bills make it to the governor's desk, he can veto them and we can uphold his veto. But I want to be clear, our work is not yet finished. Now, I am glad that Dan Forrest loves me, but let's face it, his fellow Republicans, they did not wake up after the 2018 election woke. I mean, they're not watching MSNBC before they go to work in the morning. Instead, what my Republican colleagues have done is they spent the first 3 months of this session behind closed, locked doors, something that would be illegal in Rowan County. And when they concluded their scheming, and that happened just about a week or so ago, the doors opened to this deluge of legislative activity. And what that means is bills come only hours sometimes before I have to vote on them, and have literally almost no time to research them. And what I think is particularly unfortunate is that it doesn't give you time to reach out to me and give me the information I need to have before I push one of those buttons to vote. So you've probably heard that chant, tell me what democracy looks like. Well, this is not, what's going on in Raleigh is not what democracy looks like. I would like to share with you some information that I got from Gene Nichols' new book, The Faces of Poverty in North Carolina. He is kind of a hero to me. He was the director of the UNC Poverty Center until it was shut down by the Board of Governors because he wrote articles in the paper that were critical of what the General Assembly was doing. Professor Nichols reminds us that right now in our North Carolina, we continue to reject Medicaid coverage for over 500,000 of our poor brothers, sisters, and siblings, people who suffer needlessly because they can't afford to go to the doctor. Republicans deny them coverage, even though Governor Cooper negotiated a plan that would expand Medicaid without any expense to the taxpayer. Republicans deny them coverage even with such generous terms from the federal government that it actually costs us money to turn that coverage away. Republicans deny them coverage even though Medicaid would bring much needed resources, especially to our rural hospitals. The South as a region is overrepresented when it comes to hospital closures since 2010. There have been roughly 90 nationwide, 70 of them have been in the South. And, but there are 3 southern states. They are Louisiana, West Virginia, and Arkansas that have not had a single hospital closure. Guess what else they have in common? Who would guess? Absolutely. They have expanded Medicaid. Republicans have refused to expand Medicaid even though it would keep premiums down for all of us. That's just how insurance works. But most tragically, Republicans have denied the people of North Carolina coverage even after a study from Harvard University indicated that every year, over 1,000 poor North Carolinians die, literally die because of their intransigence. The data says that they would have survived if they lived in one of the states that's taken the Medicaid expansion. Professor Nichols says it very clearly. They will die because they're Tar Heels. But that's not all. He reminds us that since 2010, Republicans have enacted draconian cuts to our unemployment insurance. We were the first state in the country to eliminate the earned income tax credit. We rank at the bottom half of the nation in teacher pay and 39th in per pupil spending. We have a $600 million shortfall in funding for school nurses, counselors, psychiatrists, and per student funding for textbooks is still 55% below pre-recession levels. Now, I am the oldest of 8 children, and the first person in my family to go to college, so I know firsthand the doors that are open when education, when we have access to a quality, affordable education. We need to make these investments. Governors previously on both sides of the aisle, including Terry Sanford and Governor Hunt, they knew that education is the way out of poverty. But speaking of poverty, we have one of the highest rates of working poverty in the nation, with 1.4 million North Carolinians living in poverty, including 1 in 5 children. We know that our minimum wage won't cover the basic necessities in any of our 100 counties. We are the 10th hungriest state in the nation, and while we are enjoying this lovely breakfast, thank you very much, in North Carolina, 590,000 households will go to bed tonight without having enough to eat. Republicans have done all of this because they have prioritized tax cuts for corporations and the wealthiest 5% over making investments in our people. And they are desperate to hold on to power. Since 2010, Republicans in the General Assembly have tried over and over again to rig the system and steal your vote. They've gerrymandered districts with surgical precision. That's what the judges say. They've enacted the largest voter suppression we have ever seen. And these days, they're even stealing congressional elections. The people of North Carolina have never needed your work, your time, and your energy as much as they do right now. And that's why every day I am in committee and on the floor of the Senate with those new legislators you helped elect, working to make North Carolina a place we can all be proud of. And I want you to know that your governor is standing up for you too. We may have had a tough 2016 election, but you elected a really good man. Roy Cooper is smart, and he is dedicated to doing what's best for North Carolina and the people of North Carolina. And he believes, like I do, that in order to turn things around, we need to invest in our people. And that's why he's called for a $3.9 billion bond issue to make much needed investments in our schools and our infrastructure while maintaining our AAA credit rating. With these investments, North Carolina will be a top 10 educated state because we're going to invest $2 billion to build and renovate our K-12 public schools, including over $25 million right here in Rowan County. Because we're going to invest $500 million of that money to improving our university system, including over $174 million in the 6 UNC schools that are just about an hour away from where we're sitting right now. And because we're going to invest another $500 million in community colleges. These are places that provide the bridge between our working people and the jobs of the future. And that will include a $7 million investment in Rowan Cabarrus Community College. So Governor Cooper believes, as I do, that it's time that we expand Medicaid to the 500,000 of our brothers, sisters, and siblings, including 30,000 uninsured veterans, because we know that no one should have to make a decision between providing their family with health care or putting food on the table. Governor Cooper believes, as I do, that it's time that we protect our mountains and our land and our streams from the threats of fracking and coal ash and Gen X by making corporate polluters clean up their own mess and not pass that expense onto the consumer. Thank you. Governor Cooper believes, as I do, that we need to create more strategic partnerships between business and government and academia to attract the best employers across the country, because we know that an educated, healthy workforce can and will move North Carolina forward again. So, friends, this is my vision for North Carolina. It's a vision I am proud to partner with the governor and his team. We've been developing and putting some of this into action since I came to the Senate in 2014, and it's why I'm running to be your next lieutenant governor. Because regardless of whether you're from Murphy or Manteo, whether you're from a rural community or an urban community, or a big city or a small town, regardless of where you're from, if you're a North Carolinian who works hard and plays by the rules, you should be able to get ahead. Governor Cooper deserves a lieutenant governor who will stand with him and fight for a North Carolina that works for all of us. In my humble opinion, who better than the woman who has served for 2 terms as the Senate whip, who's worked to recruit those candidates that we had in every single legislative seat, who's helped provide the resources they need to run meaningful campaigns. Now, I know I can count on you to continue persisting and to continue resisting, to knock on doors and talk to your neighbors, because, friends, we are primed to push that blue wave forward by electing those 6 more Democrats we need in the House and electing those 4 more Democrats we need in the Senate. And when that happens, the Senate will be tied 25-25. And the number one thing you need to know about the job of lieutenant governor is that they control debate in the Senate, and they are the tie-breaking vote. And the number one thing you need to know about me is that every single time I will break the tie in favor of a vision, our vision for North Carolina, one that works for all of us. When I'm your lieutenant governor, I will work with Governor Cooper to make sure we get his budget passed. We will expand Medicaid. We will pass independent redistricting. And we will respect teachers and make education our number one priority. Together we can do this. So I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm working every day for the people of North Carolina, and it would be an honor for me to be your next lieutenant governor. It has been an honor to be with you this morning, and I wish you continued success in Rowan County. I thank you so much for who you are and for what you stand for and for your continued support for me. Thank you very much, and I would love it if we would have some time for questions.